You can have the perfect route, the perfect playlist, the perfect riding jacket that makes you feel like a god on two wheels. But none of that matters when your tire goes flat in the middle of nowhere and your phone's dead. Long trips aren't just about the ride. They're about what goes wrong on the ride. And trust me, something always does. It's not a question of if, it's when. A loose bolt, a fried fuse, a sketchy gas station burrito that turns your stomach into a war zone. You don't need to pack like a doomsday prepper. You just need to be smart. So if you're the type of rider who thinks, I'll be fine, this list is for you. Because that exact mindset is why you end up begging strangers for duct tape with one boot off, one glove missing, and a very bruised ego. Let's fix that. Number 1. Compact tire repair kit with CO2 or mini pump. A flat tire doesn't care how far you've planned your route or how scenic the road is. One nail, one screw, or one invisible pothole is all it takes to turn your beautiful trip into a waiting game for the nearest tow truck, if you can even get the signal to call one. That's why every rider on a long trip should carry a compact tire repair kit, ideally with a CO2 inflator or mini air compressor. It's not just about plugging the hole, it's about doing it fast and getting rolling again. Especially if you're in the middle of nowhere, hours from the nearest garage. Tubeless kits are small, cheap, and simple to use once you learn. And if you got tubes, patch kits and spare tubes take more space, but are still critical. Don't forget the tools you'll need to remove the wheel if necessary. Pro tip: don't wait for disaster to figure it out. Practice at home once. Know how to use the kit. Because on the side of the road, in the rain, with adrenaline pumping, that's not the time to be reading the instructions like it's IKEA furniture. One flat tire without a fix, and your entire trip can deflate with it. Number 2. Portable power bank. Modern riders live and die by their electronics. GPS, Bluetooth, helmet comms, even unlocking some modern bikes, it's all battery powered. Now, imagine your phone hits 1% in the middle of a national park with no gas station in sight and zero idea which way you came from. That's not adventure. That's just dumb. A proper power bank is non-negotiable. And no, not one of those lipstick-sized ones that barely charge a phone halfway. Get something with 10,000 amp hours or more. Ideally, it can charge your phone multiple times and also handle your helmet comms, GoPro, or GPS unit. If you want to go full prepper, get one with a jumpstart function for your bike. Yes, they really exist. Charging ports are a joke in many budget hotels, and campsite sockets don't always exist. You'll be surprised how fast your electronics die when they're running navigation, music, and tracking all day. And don't forget to bring the cables. Bring 2, one will die. Always does. Oh, and keep it charged. A dead power bank is a paperweight. Plug it in when you stop to eat, sleep, or breathe. It's not just convenience, it's your lifeline. No battery means no map, no SOS, and no way to call your buddy when your tire explodes. Number 3. High-quality rain gear. Not the cheap crap. If you think a plastic poncho from the gas station is good enough, you haven't been properly soaked yet. Because when the skies open up halfway through a mountain pass and you're suddenly swimming in your boots, you'll learn very quickly. Rain doesn't just make you wet, it breaks your spirit. A real set of rain gear isn't about staying dry, it's about staying sane. You want gear that seals, stretches, and doesn't flap like a garbage bag at 60 miles an hour. Look for proper wrist and ankle closures, waterproof zippers, and a design that doesn't balloon into a parachute. Bonus points if it packs down tight and actually fits over your armored gear. This isn't just about comfort. Wet gear means you get cold faster, lose focus, and start making dumb mistakes. Your helmet fogs, your gloves fill with water, and your fingers go numb. That's how just a little rain turns into a crash. Even worse, riding the next morning in gear that's still wet from the night before, that's misery with a zipper. So stop rolling the dice. Even if the forecast looks perfect, pack it. Rain comes out of nowhere. The difference between a ruined ride and a laughable memory? A rain suit that actually works. Number 4. First aid kit. Let's be real. Most people's idea of a first aid kit is a crushed box of Band-Aids and a packet of aspirin from 2006. That won't help when your leg's bleeding, your elbow's torn open, or your riding buddy just got stung in the throat by a wasp and can't breathe. You need a proper motorcycle-specific kit. That means large wound dressings, antiseptic wipes, trauma shears that can cut through gear, burn gel, and at least one form of compression wrap. Bonus points for a thermal blanket, tweezers, and gloves. If you're riding far, a tourniquet and clotting gauze aren't a bad idea either. And here's a kicker. You need to know how to use it. Don't wait until you're shaking on the side of the road to learn how to wrap a wound or open a foil packet. Take 10 minutes before your trip and go through it. Watch a video. Practice. Seriously. It's not about being paranoid. It's about being prepared. Out there, you're the paramedic. You're the lifeline. And even a tiny kit, if packed right, can turn a disaster into a manageable situation. It's not extra weight. It's insurance that fits in your saddlebag. And it might just save your life. Number 5. Emergency contact and medical info card. If you're unconscious on the side of the road, your $900 jacket and $20,000 bike aren't going to tell anyone who you are, what allergies you have, or who to call. And no, your phone lock screen isn't guaranteed to help, especially if it's shattered or locked behind Face ID and gloves. And that's why you need a physical, waterproof card with your critical information: blood type, allergies, medications, emergency contacts, insurance details. Maybe even your preferred hospital if you're picky like that. Stick it somewhere obvious, other than up your emergency hole, like your wallet, jacket pocket, or inside your helmet visor pouch. Label it clearly: emergency info. Paramedics are trained to look for these things, but only if they're accessible. Don't make them dig through your saddlebags like it's a scavenger hunt. And don't assume your phone is enough. Batteries die, screens crack. A simple laminated card can bridge the gap between crash and care. Also, consider writing a quick note on the card saying you ride alone or in a group. If you've gone missing, that gives responders a clue on whether to look for other riders. It's 5 minutes of prep that can make a huge difference when seconds matter. This isn't paranoia, it's respect for your own life. You'd label your luggage. Label yourself. Number 6. Multi-tool. Pliers, knife, and bits. Something will go wrong. A loose mirror, a rattling fairing, a license plate flapping like a flag. Out there, you're your own pit crew, and a solid multi-tool is the difference between fixing it on the side of the road or limping home with duct tape and despair. But not just any multi-tool. You want one that actually works. That means decent pliers that don't bend like noodles, a real knife blade that can cut a zip tie or a strap, and interchangeable bits, because nobody carries a full toolbox on a motorcycle. Get one with both flathead and Phillips options, maybe even Torx if your bike's got that personality. And don't bury it at the bottom of your pack. Keep it within arm's reach, jacket pocket, tank bag, under the seat. When something starts rattling at 120 kilometers an hour, you're not pulling over to unload 3 dry bags. This thing isn't just for bike issues either. Tighten a visor screw, open food packaging, cut rope, fix gear, pry something out of your tire tread. The uses never end. A good multi-tool costs a bit more, but a bad one will fail you when you need it most, which, on a motorcycle trip, is always somewhere in the middle of nowhere. Number 7. Extra visor or helmet pin lock insert. You never realize how important your visor is until it betrays you mid-ride. One deep scratch from a rogue bug, one drop on the pavement, or one foggy morning without pin lock, and suddenly your world goes blurry, distorted, or completely opaque at 90 kilometers an hour. Packing an extra visor, or at least a spare pin lock insert, is one of those future me will thank me moves. If your current one gets scratched, fogs up beyond reason, or pops off its hinge in a clumsy gas station moment, you're not riding safe anymore. You're gambling. And gambling with your vision on 2 wheels is a losing game. Make sure your spare's in a soft cloth bag or tucked between clothes to avoid damage. You don't need it instantly accessible, but you do want it in good shape when the time comes. Bonus, if you ride with a dark visor and get caught riding past sunset, having a clear one ready saves you from riding blind, or holding your visor open while moths try to kamikaze into your eyeballs. This isn't about luxury. It's about comfort, clarity, and control. 3 things that matter more the longer you ride. Vision is non-negotiable. Protect it like it's the only thing between you and a deer at dusk. Number 8. Zip ties, duct tape, and paracord. This is the holy trinity of motorcycle MacGyvering. If you don't have at least 2 of the 3 on every long trip, you're basically tempting fate. Something will come loose. Something will break. And when it does, your fancy toolkit means nothing if you can't hold it together. Zip ties can fix dangling cables, cracked plastics, or keep your exhaust heat shield from rattling like a maraca. Duct tape? It's armor, a wind blocker, or even a temporary bandage if you're desperate. And paracord? That's your emergency luggage strap, your tent guy line, your tow rope. Or if you're having a really bad day, your clutch lever if it snaps and you tie a stick to it. These don't take up space. Stuff a roll of tape in your luggage lid, wrap some paracord around your water bottle, shove some zip ties behind your license plate. You'll forget you even packed them until you need them. Then you'll feel like Bear Grylls with handlebars. People spend hundreds on gadgets and GPS units, but when your saddlebag breaks or your mirror falls off mid-trail, you'll be grateful for the 10-cent piece of plastic that saves your whole day. Long rides break stuff. Be the rider who planned for it. Number 9. Backup earplugs or communication earbuds. Wind noise is like water torture. You don't notice it at first, but after hours on the highway, it drills into your skull. That ringing in your ears? Not the engine singing. It's permanent damage. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. Welcome to tinnitus. Population, you. That's why earplugs aren't optional. They're survival gear. But here's the kicker. They fall out. They get lost in jacket pockets. You drop one at a gas station and it rolls under a truck. Now you're stuck listening to wind death for 6 hours because you didn't pack spares. Same goes for comms or earbuds. You might not need music every ride, but when you do, and the foam tip rips or your charging port dies, it ruins your whole rhythm. Having a backup pair, even a basic one, means you don't spend the rest of the trip in angry silence. You don't have to carry a full audio store, a couple foam earplugs in a Ziploc, a cheap backup pair of earbuds in your tank bag. Done. Small, light, sanity saving. Number 10. Compact water filter or purification tablet. Water seems like a given until you don't have it. One wrong turn, one closed gas station, one broken tap at a campsite, and suddenly you're sipping from a sketchy stream with floaties and a weird smell. Hope you like diarrhea and dehydration, because that's how you get both. A compact water filter or a few purification tablets weigh basically nothing. But when you're out in the middle of nowhere and your water supply runs dry, they're worth more than your whole motorcycle. Especially if you're doing backcountry, desert, or international trips where tap water is a gamble at best. Yes, bottled water exists. But what if you're stuck overnight? What if your bottle leaks? What if your riding buddy drinks all of it and passes out? Having a backup water plan isn't luxury. It's just common sense. The road doesn't care how thirsty you are. There are lightweight, affordable filters the size of a granola bar that can clean hundreds of liters. Tablets are even smaller. Throw them in your pannier and forget about them until they save your life. Because on a long ride, running out of water isn't just inconvenient, it's dangerous. And dying of thirst while surrounded by gasoline is a special kind of ironic. Number 11. Spare fuses and a mini multimeter. You can be fully geared up, bike loaded, GPS ready, and then nothing. No lights, no ignition, no dash. A single fuse can kill your whole ride, and most riders don't carry spares, let alone know which ones they need. That's where this tiny duo saves the day. Spare fuses weigh nothing and cost pennies. A mini multimeter can tell you instantly whether it's actually a fuse or something deeper. Together, they turn you from helpless idiot to roadside hero in under 60 seconds. Modern bikes are rolling computers. Your heated grips, USB charger, even your ignition system are all protected by fragile little fuses. Hit a bump, overload a circuit, or wire something wrong, and boom, your bike becomes an expensive sculpture. And if you're on a remote trip, the next fuse might be 100 miles away, or in a gas station that sells only snacks and keychains. Not ideal when your dash is dead and night's coming. You don't need to be an electrician. Just learn how to pop your seat, check the fuse box, and swap one in. And if you're even slightly technical, the multimeter lets you test your battery, check continuity, and look competent in front of your friends. Electrical failure shouldn't end your trip. Be smarter than the fuse. Number 12. Printed map, offline GPS backup. When your phone dies or your navigation app starts spinning aimlessly in a zone with zero signal, reality hits you fast. You're lost, alone, and the sun's going down. Google Maps is a luxury, but it's not guaranteed, especially in the mountains, remote highways, or rural dead zones where adventure riding actually happens. That's why a printed map or an offline GPS app is non-negotiable. Paper doesn't need charging, doesn't crash. It doesn't tell you to turn left into a cornfield. It just sits there, calmly showing you the way, if you got the brain cells to read it. And when paired with even a basic compass or your brain's own internal GPS, it's a solid backup when everything else fails. Offline GPS apps like Osam and Gaia can also save the day, especially if you preload your routes. But don't assume your phone will always be part of the plan. Heat, water, theft, or simple clumsiness can turn that glowing screen into an expensive brick. A $4 paper map tucked into your bag could be the thing that gets you out of a canyon, finds the nearest fuel, or helps a stranger save their own ass. Old school navigation isn't outdated, it's underrated. These 12 items aren't luxuries. They're survival gear disguised as common sense. You might carry them for weeks and never touch them, until one day they save your ride, your wallet, or your body. And when that happens, you'll be glad you didn't waste that space on a second hoodie. So before your next trip, stop scrolling top 10 scenic routes and take 5 minutes to prep for when things go sideways. You don't regret carrying gear. You regret needing it and not having it. Subscribe for more hard-earned lessons from the road. And if there's something you never leave without, drop it in the comments. We're always learning.